Hello, everyone, and welcome to the What the Sheep Podcast, episode 74, where Alana and myself will be discussing, breaking down, and celebrating 7 years of Critical Role with Critical Role Campaign 3, episode 17. And boy, this was a phenomenal anniversary episode. This is, I feel like you and I really like when it gets into like the role play stuff, when we get really into like the backstories and all of that. And this 100%. Episode was peak that.
We've been saying for so long, bring on the travel episodes because we love the Night Watches, because they're always just either there's some encounter that's amazing or there's just chances for people to pair up and talk and just hang out. I love it. It was so good.
So much of that. So much of
it's
that.
Wild too. 17 episodes and they're finally leaving their first city. I think that's kind of cool. It's a nice kind of it's a divergence from what we've seen in the past of, you know, them traveling early on. So this is nice. We're finally out of Drusar.
Yeah, and it felt like we were never going to leave, because it took up to the break for them to actually leave the city, because they had a bunch of loose ends to tie up. You know, they went back to, a few of them they split up, you know, a few people went to get horses, some people went back to Lord Esteros, and then we had the Milo crew. It was all really great. I loved his, for those of you who went to one of the live viewings at the Cinemarks, it was awesome. But when it was Laudna and Fern that went back to Lord Esteros to explain what had happened, and Sam's comment of, like, as they were like trying to explain what was happening, Sam was just like, "Go get popcorn. Take this time. Go get some popcorn. Go leave." Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's great.
It was there was the kind of the most chaotic crew to send to speak to Esteros. I love how they described it as they're a bunch of like 9-year-old girls describing the story, like, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. I love how Matt plays Esteros, because he is obviously this large, imposing figure with a lot of influence and all this kind of stuff happening with his character, but he plays the kind of exhausted, begrudgingly nice patron in the way, like he's like, yeah, it's okay, like he's listening and he's being respectful, but this guy is like, what the fuck is happening? Like,
pretty much,
who are these people I've hired? But they get the job done, so he's not too stressed, I'm sure. But I just love that exasperated kind of personality that Matt plays for Esteros. Brought him with some good cooking, some bakewares.
Yeah, it's tons of fun, and it's such like an interesting contrast to obviously the rest of the party as a whole. So it's just always really fun to see them interact, especially when it's just Laudna and Fern. It's awesome. Well, then we had Imogen and Chetney, who were in charge of gathering the horses, and I loved the reoccurring joke that Travis was doing, that he was just going to eat the horses, or at least one of them. So good.
Oh boy.
Once again, Chetney is easily one of my favorite characters.
These horses aren't long for the world, though. Like, let's be real. The horses aren't going to last.
No. No, they're not.
It's very wishful thinking that they're going to be able to bring them back to Drusar.
And it's like, and they all know it. They all know.
They do.
It's not going to be good. It's not going to be good.
They're not expensive enough to care about, essentially, I guess, in the roleplay sense of things. You can roleplay that your character loves animals, but at the end of the day, if it's going to take you a week to take them back or just leave them, you're going to leave them. They're like 30 gold. Move on. Get new horses elsewhere. But yeah, I also loved, as Adam says, Chetney constantly bringing up the seal goats, like saying, "Well, why don't you have them? If you had them, we wouldn't be having this argument right now." So that was fun. I did like the breakup. So I liked Lorna and Imogen going off. I liked Team Horse taking care of business. But the one that I liked the most was the Milo conversation, going to see Milo with Ash and FCG and Orem. Ooh, that's exciting. That's interesting.
That's real. Like, I love Milo's character.
Milo's great.
That is a really awesome character. Like Artificer plus whatever else. It's really cool. And we got some more I'm wondering now because at first we were kind of thinking that FCG's like hiccup the night before was just because he was injured.
Yeah.
But it might end up being something more.
Could be something more. We don't know. We don't know enough about the empathy domain or any kind of physical aspect of FCG. We know that Sam has been taking notes. We know that he's like, marking things off.
Yep.
Matt says, take a point or, add like subtract a point. We know that whenever they do the empathetic bonding, they take temporary hit points, but we don't seem to understand what that means for FCG. So the fact that Milo is then inspecting them and says, oh, there's a lot of pent up energy here, a lot of kind of unreleased energy. It's concerning. It does me a concern. But it's really interesting. I'm wondering if it is, just that's how FCG is all the time. FCG always has this, or if this has just been the progressive build up over the past couple of weeks of, being in Drusar and doing all these things and taking on all those temporary hit points or whatever. And I just want to know more. I just want to see that explode, essentially.
Yeah, because now, obviously, I want it to be something really cool like that. But we can also go the more boring route and just maybe theorize that, well, maybe there is just this buzzing energy because he just finished a long rest, and so he just has full power, his full spell slots available to him.
I like it.
Or the pent-up energy could be at like foreshadowing like future spells that he gets. Like there's so much energy here that hasn't been released yet because he hasn't learned how to harness it, hasn't learned how to use these different powers he will eventually get.
Potential energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I like it. I like to think that it's a ticking time bomb.
Oh yeah, same.
That FCG is gonna like absolutely crack it eventually.
Yep.
Yeah. That's what we're here for, really. Let's be realistic with ourselves.
That's the angst I'm here for. But there was a lot of angst this episode. Or I guess I wouldn't say there was a lot of angst, but the angst that did happen was enough to like last me at least for a very long time.
Yeah, and it wasn't even really angst. It's the mood that we associate with angst. Yes. It's like very old grief that we then like enjoy, which makes us sound like psychopaths. Which is like, oh yes, give me your old grief, please. I want to. Yeah, it's they know. It's fine. We don't need to explain this to them. But yeah, no, it's interesting. It's exciting. I think there's something's got to give eventually with FCG. There's going to be some reveal, I say there has to be. I don't want to sound like an idiot and be like, oh, there's definitely 100% going to be. But I feel like there has to be another big reveal, something that we're not clear on. We're starting to push it, not to jump ahead, but we're starting to push it a little bit with the mind meld he did with Imogen. Some sus things happening in that.
It probably could have gone real bad if they had rolled low.
Yeah. Imagine they just like both fall unconscious and their minds are just lost. Like, we'll get to that later. Because I've got a lot to say about that scene as well. But no, it was a good first half. I thought I liked the.
It was
prior to the splitting up. I liked them just having their chat in the tavern. Chetney was it Chetney and Imogen or Chetney and Lorna? Who was it that woke Chetney up?
Oh yeah, Laudna. Yeah.
Lorna, and he's just like trying to figure out how to play it with Fern. Like, do I go in like ignore her? Do I play it cool? That was really fun. Oh, and we had the dream. We had Imogen's dream first up.
Oh, that's right. We started. There was so much that happened last night. There was so much that happened last night. But yes. So there was the dream, this same situation, but there was the crystal rock that was later revealed to be a gnarl rock, which is specifically from the Feywild that has the ability to change things. They corrupt. Maybe good corruption, maybe bad corruption.
Mutates.
I'm not really sure. Mutates, yes. Mutate is a better word. So interesting.
But we got to see that she interacted with the dream in a different way.
Yes.
It was very much, she didn't initially run. She still had all the same kind of audio cues, but she didn't run initially. She had this rock and she was kind of like sizing up the potential of like how she might be able to use this. But we also got, I think this was the first time she said she smelt the storm and smelt that it like smelled. I
the
said not
irony.
smelt.
Yeah.
I don't think smelt is a word in that context. She smelled the iron kind of ironness of the storm. But she also then, upon waking, had the theory of like, well, what if I just go into it? What if I enter the storm? Which is like peak kind of chaotic sorcerer vibes. Like, well, I mean, I could just go into this giant, like, iron blood-scented storm that's been haunting me. That makes total sense. I love it, though. I want that to happen. I love Imogen as this kind of... She wants answers, but she's also still power hungry, but not... I'm not saying that in a negative way. She seeks power. Like, she is looking for kind of access to power, which, you know, any good sorcerer would do. So... I want more of that. I can't wait for another dream to happen and to see how it progresses.
Yeah, and they had like a theory that, you know, because Imogen fell asleep with the rock and it came into her dream, maybe if she, you know, holds on to Laudna, she'll come into the dream.
Sweet.
I would love that. That'd be really, really interesting if somehow that's able to happen. And I'm wondering if maybe... Because now I'm thinking about what FCG and Imogen had done. What if FCG tries peering into her mind as she's sleeping to try to like get into one of her dreams as well?
I was thinking that too. Maybe it's like because she had a mental connection with the Nile Rock right before the dream. So what if it's like related to her psionic abilities? So people that she has connected. She is connected with all of them though. That's the thing. Like, but maybe it's that deeper connection. Like she peered deep into the Nile Rock. Maybe now that she's had this kind of mind tornado with FCG, what if he appears in the dream next time? And then we get a sense of like how he dreams, because that's another big thing. Like, how does he dream?
It is.
I love it. I love the Feywild. I love the dream aspect of this campaign. I love the moons. It's great. It's so good. I think campaign 2 we had a lot of politics and, you know, war, which was excellent and super exciting. But I'm loving the mystical bullshit of this campaign.
I agree. I totally agree.
Yeah. Blood magic and moon magic and psionic magic. Give me all the fucked up magic.
And it sounds weird saying this because they're playing a D&D game, but this feels like more of a return to like a classic like high fantasy sort of setting. Because again, before, you know, the previous campaign was very political. There was a lot of diplomacy that was going on, a lot of sneaking around, investigating, which is again amazing in its own right. And not to say that campaign 2 wasn't high fantasy, because again it's D&D, but this one really taps into that mystical mystery, which is awesome.
It's kind of like campaign 1 was the hero's journey and like the heroic kind of fantasy setting. Campaign 2 kind of felt more modern in the sense that it was so politicized and focused on, you know, boundaries and war and things like this. This feels like we're still in that kind of modernized world. Drusar feels like a fairly like... But there's so many fantasy elements. I was thinking it feels like season 2 of Legend of Korra. Like you've got, you know, you've got Empire City and you've got like all the, I can't remember if that's actually what it's called, but you've got all the modern worlds, but we're looking at the spiritual shit now. I'm excited because it's like,
wow, that's actually super interesting because in season 2 there is the whole like opening the portals again to the spirit realm, and there's a lot of Feywild stuff happening.
Yeah, what's going on? I saw a really good breakdown of someone called back Plane Rider Rin. You know how in campaign 2 they'd gone to the fire plane, they found the notes of Plane Rider Rin saying the convergence of the planes, and we've talked about this a bit as well. Like, is this something that's happening? Is this going to be something that's big in campaign 3? We saw it in EXU, maybe possible shiftings with the elemental chaos. And now we're seeing this place in the wilds where the Feywild appears to be quite strong. Yeah. Could it be this convergence is beginning and aspects of the planes are colliding? That'd be, I think, a really cool arc, a really cool plot point. This to be.
It's funny because do we know when Plane Rider Rin was writing those notes?
No, and we don't know necessarily when they said it was coming, but we got a sense it was coming. Like
Yeah,
it
I was
was
gonna say it
something
would be funny
soon.
if, like, the reason why this convergence is even happening is because, um, the initial gate was opened to the Feywild, and just all of
Oh,
that
for
chaotic
Artigan.
energy just, you know, caused chaos in the material world, but then was able to then somehow seep into other planes, or was able to crack into them. I don't know. I
I
don't
think
know.
because they also mention how Ruidus is like acting up,
Yeah.
right? Or like there's aspects of it flashing and
Hmm.
excuse me, and just not looking as it should in the sky. Um, but I guess with the convergence of the planes, you imagine it's like I think they said it was something that has happened before. Like it was predicted and it's happened, and so now it's happening again. The concerning thought is like if Artigan forgot to close the door behind him, just letting all the
Yeah,
Feywild
that's
spill
fine.
out. Yeah. I just like the idea of if the planes do align, what else are we going to see? We're going to see aspects of like Shadowfell peeking through. Are we going to
Yeah.
like is it gonna do something with the divine gate? Is there going to be some kind of are we going to see celestial and fiendish planes start breaking through?
Well,
Um,
like I've been saying since like
Nina.
back towards the end of campaign 2, like I
Yep.
really think we're gearing up for like a second calamity or something,
Yes.
especially with the convergence, like all of these
Yes.
things crossing
A
over.
new
Like
age. New age.
it's
Let's go.
I feel like, because now I'm thinking from like a meta standpoint. So if this is their last campaign, it would kind of make
Mm.
sense to have like a new age begin from
Mm.
like a calamity, like ending this with a calamity and then like the aftermath, because then
Mm.
they can start completely anew with like a brand new like full cast,
Yeah.
in like the new age Exandria, as like just a completely fresh start. That's a bit more of like a meta take on if there is like a
Yeah.
calamity, but it would also make sense if they wanted to then like go back to their own home games, but then continue supporting a D&D show on Critical Role. This
Mm.
could be a way for them to do that in this instance.
Yeah. I'm just keen for whatever the calamity
Oh
might
yeah.
be because the calamity previously was like God induced. I like the idea
Hmm.
if this was like you know humanoid induced or like
Yeah.
mortal induced. That'd be kind of
Hmm.
cool.
Yeah. Super
Lich
excited.
lich induced. Um, but yeah, where were we?
Milo's. So,
Milo.
uh, Milo gave FCG a few advancements, being able
Oh
to
yeah, that
swap
was
out that
awesome.
arm as just a free action, essentially, which is
That's
pretty good because
handy.
before it took their entire action to switch it
Yeah.
out. So that definitely opens up FCG's action economy. And I kind of was thinking that too. I'm like, dang, like, I mean, it's cool that FCG has this buzzsaw and this grappling hook, but in combat, if it takes their full turn, like, that's
It's the
really
yeah,
rough. That's really
it's hard
rough.
to manage. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Because you want to move into place and then you open yourself up to attack and then
Yeah.
you're losing an entire turn. You're taking essentially entire turns of damage between then and actually getting a hit off.
Yeah, but again, as Adam
Yeah,
said, we can't
rough.
forget that if FCG rolls a 1, it's gonna be something's gonna happen. It'll probably
It's
it'll probably just break, but
I think it'll just break. I think the arm will fall off and maybe injure themselves or injure
yeah.
someone else.
Hmm.
But it's still gonna be funny regardless,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, and I'm sure like Sam loves self-inflicted pain and
Oh
just
yeah.
nerfing
Yeah.
himself beyond belief because he loves
Yeah.
that, and
Yeah.
I
He,
love him
he loves
for it. I think
playing
it's hilarious.
he loves playing at a disadvantage.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah, which I think is great.
Because it was even later on, it was one of their final survival checks of the night, and FCG or Sam decided to roll for it, but he rolled by himself, and then Laura was like, "No, I'll give you advantage," but then Sam was like, "Well, too late."
Yeah,
Even
I've
though
already rolled.
it probably wasn't too late, but like Sam Sam doesn't care.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
that's
I
great.
like that aspect of Sam as a player. I think
Oh yeah,
it's kind of like the opposite of a min max. It's just
yeah.
like, yeah, like no, I'm gonna play as kind of pushed down as I can.
Hmm.
That's good. Makes good character moments.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think there's a lot more opportunity for character development and just overall cool character moments in Failure rather than like in success. Because if it's just success, then there's none of that like awesome like payoff after all the hardships.
We've always said like rolling low in D&D is just as exciting as rolling high. Like failures are just as exciting.
That's great.
That's good.
But then, yes, eventually the party does end up leaving Drewstar. However, I have this written down early on in my notes, so I think it happened before they left Drewstar. Fern was talking a little bit about her parents. Oh, yes, this was back when they were in the tavern. And Fern was saying how she would receive letters from her parents over the years.
Yeah.
And she said that she got one of them from Ayor?
Ayor?
Huh?
Okay, few theories. Let's break this down.
Yeah.
So first things first, she said it's been a while since she's received these letters. She feels like the last one was when she was in her 40s or around about that time, and we know she's 110, 112 years old. So it's been like 70 years.
Yeah.
Been 70 years since she's effectively heard from her parents. That being like. And that's not even like Feywild, timey-wimey stuff, because she actually gave her ages, so it's constant to her. So it's been 70 years since she's heard from her parents. It could be that, like, you know, it's not been as long for her parents. Like, we don't know. Feywild time bullshit. But Ayor, like, this would have, if it was when she was 40... And presumably, if it was that time, so 70 years ago in the past, this is pre-Vox Machina, this is like, you know, do my maths here, probably like pre-Thordak, maybe, the first time. What were they doing in Ayor?
Well, because now I'm thinking, because time moves slower in the Feywild, right?
Or it can move faster.
Or moves faster.
It can move either. It depends. It's determined when you enter and leave.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting, because I'm wondering then, because Fern only semi-recently entered the material plane, right?
Yeah.
So if she was
yeah,
receiving letters from her parents who were already in the material plane, but like time is weird.
And she was getting letters in the Feywild? Like, who's delivering letters?
Yeah, so I mean, if time is really that weird, I guess maybe it is possible that her parents were in Ayor, like, when it was still, like, flying all those centuries ago.
They left the Feywild, and it's like, all right, you're being reverted 10,000 years. Like,
yeah.
I think... I'm not sure that would work, because I think if we look at, like, say, Singhorn and Artie, and I'm going to have to read up about it. I don't know enough about the time dilation of the Feywild, if it's constant for every person, if it's constant just for one person. It's dodgy, but I feel like it's probably they're just exploring the ruins. But I want to know kind of like, do we don't know enough about them. Like the fact that they just left is interesting enough. The fact that they left the Feywild, and she was then essentially like, you know, lived with her grandmother, who like we don't know if her grandmother's a fawn. We don't know if she's a satyr or whatever. Her grandmother's name's Morrigan, which is
that big? Because last night, like when that name was dropped, the crowd was like, "Whoa, what?"
Morrigan's like a very kind of powerful name in regards to like witch lore and fantasy lore. Like it's essentially the name of a queen of witches. Would be a way to describe it.
Would be like Merlin, like if she was like,
it's like Merlin. Yeah, my grandfather's Merlin. Yeah, 100%, 100%. Yeah, Morrigan's a powerful name in like specifically in like Irish folklore, but like in any kind of witch lore, Morrigan is a strong name. It's we don't know with Ashley. Honestly, we never know with Ashley. It could be a coincidence, but it could also be a very purposeful name to give a grandmother-like character. It comes across very witchy.
And it could be because I mean, Fern calls Morgan her grandmother. That may not mean like her mother's mother. Like grandmother could just be like a blanket term
The
because she's just
title,
very
yeah.
old and was just like always there.
100%. 100%.
So maybe like Morgan is the reason why like the Calloway name is so big in the Feywild is because their descendants were related to Morgan in some way. So that's pretty interesting. It's really
I'm
interesting.
excited to see the go. But we got her parents' names, so it was like Oleander and
Birdie.
Bertie, which is really sweet. They're
sweet.
cute names. Yeah, that's typical Feywild names, but they're probably going to be some fucked up things. Like these people just casually go to ale. They're fine. I'm sure they're super sweet.
Yeah. Not particular. Yeah, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. But so yes, then after that, they wrapped up all their business in Dressar, finally left, and we had some pretty interesting encounters during the days. So I think we can go through the day encounters, and then like we'll go through all the day encounters they had, and then we'll talk about all of the night watches. We won't go in chronological order because there's just so much to talk about each of them that we'll just break them up into blocks. So their day encounters. We got some really cool magic items from the encounters. Their first one, the chase
rabbit.
with the wabbit, the little wabbit.
The wabbit, the Weskerly wabbit.
Was do we know what kind of creature that was?
It was a big rabbit.
Yeah, it was just a big old hopper.
When Matt described it, I was thinking like an almirage, like with the horn.
Oh yeah, yep.
But it was big. It was like 4
Yeah,
foot
that's a big boy.
tall, standing up. So I don't know if it's just a big almirage, but it could just be some fey creature, or it could be like even like I doubt it's like any of the hair folk, which are like the new kind of playable race, because it seemed to be a creature.
Yeah.
It seemed to be a beast. But yeah, just some kind of weird rabbit with a horn, which I mean, almirages are fey, so it could just be, a different subspecies. I like it though. I thought it was, it sounded cute.
Yeah. It was super nice. But then from it, the party acquired a Feywild shard. Which is akin to the Gnarl Rock that they had, but different properties a bit. But a very interesting item that was given to Imogen, as it could only be attuned to by a sorcerer. And some really interesting properties, allowing it to be used as a focus, as well as,
potential wild magic. Which
stuff.
Laura's perfect for that, because she's going to do it. Like, I feel like sometimes if a character's given an item, they'll be like, oh, this is exciting, but I'm too scared to use the wild magic table, or if the consequences outweigh the benefits that could possibly happen. But I feel like Laura's just gonna be like, nah, fuck it, like this is chaos, this is what I'm here for, and we're going to get a lot of those roles, which is so exciting. The potentials then for not only just wild magic surges, but then the fact that it doesn't require concentration, so these spells can just last, is really cool. But I'm just, we haven't had proper wild magic.
No.
Like we've had the table and we've had effects and things like that in AOL. There was a lot of that as well. Yeah. But I'm excited for it to kind of be utilized by a PC. Like this is now a PC calling the shots of the wild magic.
And I can't remember, was there a limit on how many times she could use it a day, or was it just like any time she uses meta magic?
Yeah. No, it's I was reading the item, and it's whenever she uses meta magic, she can choose to roll on the table, and unless you are a wild magic surge sorcerer, it then resets daily. So
gotcha.
So if you're a wild magic sorcerer, then I mean you could just do it whenever because you've got the wild magic. So it's a once a day sort of thing.
Gotcha.
But what was the other property of it? It has the wild magic surge, but there was another property of it. It was.
It could be used as an arcane focus.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that was it.
I thought there was something else. Let me just quickly check.
Now I'm thinking there might have been something else as well, but I cannot fully remember. Not fully.
All right. Yes. Yes, that is it. It is just the focus.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Um,
Cool though.
but
Cool.
oh yeah,
Like
totally.
whenever wild magic is brought up, I always roll a D100 just to see like what I might get. And it's just fun. It's just a fun table.
Yeah. And it's funny because Taliesin obviously has experience from when wild magic could go very, very poorly, and it still kind of can, just not as bad. Because I feel like on older wild magic tables, like I think one of the results was like you cast fireball like on yourself or something, like it's centered on yourself, like just like it could just go so badly.
Yeah.
But I do think recent versions it's a bit more lax than that.
No, fireball's still there. Yeah,
Oh, it's still there. Oh, wonderful.
If you roll a 7 or an 8, yep, you cast fireball as a third level spell centered on yourself.
Oh, good. Oh, good. It's still actually.
I think last night when I brought it up, I got a 43, which is like, for the next minute, you can teleport up to 20 feet as a bonus action on each of your turns. Like, it's just like free Misty Step. It's really cool. Yeah, I'm so keen for that to like come into play. It's a shame that it's a once a day thing, but it's going to kind of make those little moments really fun, I reckon.
Yeah, and like, it's funny because we see it as like such an innocent thing right now, but because of how much variance it has, it could, given the right circumstance and the right situation and the right role, it could be like a campaign changer.
Oh yeah. There's some here that are just like
happens.
I mean, isn't there one that's just like you die? I think like
you're dead.
Oh, I mean, there's like if you die within the next minute, you immediately come back to life as if by the reincarnate spell, which changes your race and everything. I do like Gem Knight pointed out that you can turn into a pot plant, which is one less than the one I rolled previously. If I'd rolled a 42, it's you turn into a potted plant until the start of your next turn. You're just a plant.
Oh, it's so
great.
funny.
Oh, wow. I love it.
Yeah,
it's cool. It's a fun addition. That's the kind of thing when you're planning and you're the DM and you're just like, what magic items can I just throw at my party? And I like that Matt, he doesn't make it easy. Like they had to work for each of these things. Like they had to fully chase this rabbit down to get it. In my head, I was like, it's just going to be like, a salt lick rock or something, or like some kind of vegetable. But no, it worked out as like an actual usable item that, they worked for and they got it. It was cool.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. Then the other big, I guess, encounter they had during the day was the storm that came in. And, oh my gosh. The set with all of like the vines and the flowers. But then, okay, so one thing that I did want to bring up, because I didn't really notice it before, because like when I watch like at home, like with my headphones and stuff, like I can hear the music and like the soundtrack that kind of plays in the background, but it's not like super loud, like it's not super like noticeable a lot of the time. But in theaters, like the music was like top quality, like you could hear, it was like surround sound, you could hear the music, and it enhanced every single scene during that episode. It was incredible. Like that's why I was saying, like before we went live, I was saying how every episode should be viewed in a theater, because it completely enhances the experience, not only with like the sound and like the music and stuff, but also like being in a crowd with like the best vibes and the best reactions also like super enhances the viewing experience of the episode. And so like
so cool
being surrounded by a bunch of critters and with the music playing a huge factor in amplifying the emotions of the scene, just it was so incredible.
I like to, at one point, like the rain changed to heavy rain, and I think it was like Sam said, like, "Oh, is that different rain?" Versus just like light rain, heavy rain. It was pretty cool to see from a technical point of view, like the amount of work that went to it. The heavy rain looked amazing. I want that in my bedroom. I want like a projection screen that I can have just heavy rain coming down. No, it's a really cool effect that they've got, and it matched, as you say, so well with the 7th year anniversary setting they had with all the plants and vines around it. It was cool.
It was really peaceful. And Genius Pool said, Chris, the sound guy, mixes the audio special for theaters. That's awesome. That's incredible. Because I'd never really like took note of like the music before last night, and it was amazing. Like all of the sounds, like not even just the music, is the rain, the sounds of the jungle. And then before we continue on with this encounter, one thing I did want to bring up was Imogen's moment alone when they first left Drusar, and she kind of stepped away from the party for a bit and just listened to the sound of the forest without the dozens, maybe even hundreds of minds that are trying to push through her barriers that she pushes, that she puts up. It's a really nice moment for her. Very relaxing, especially with all of the sounds of the and stuff. So it was just nice that Imogen got to have that moment alone of peace and quiet finally after being in Drusar.
I'm just so happy with traveling. Just everything good happens on the road.
Yeah,
everything good happens when traveling.
Yep. Like we gotta savor it while we've got it, and we might have it for a while. Because I mean, before we had it for a long time in campaign 2, but then once I got access to the teleportation circle, teleport, and then it's just bamfing in other places. But do sorcerers get
it? You know what it'll be?
Circle?
It's going to be transport via plants will be the thing. It'll be fern with the transport via plants. Will be the thing. That's.
Yep.
Let me just look up. That's a 6th level spell, so they're still a little while off. Like, I guess I don't know if there's any easier or more accessible ones before that, but imagine what 6th level. When does she get 6th level? Let me find the table.
Is that like level
11?
11? Yeah, 11.
Yeah, so they're still a ways off from that one at the very least. Yeah, I don't know when that would get teleport or teleportation circle. Let me look it up. I can do quick stuff. Teleportation.
Quick searches. Yeah. So continuing on with some of their day-to-day stuff while you look up that.
They do. Sorcerers do get it.
Oh, okay.
At fifth level.
Okay, spell. So that's like level 9. I think.
9. 5th level 9. Yep. Good work.
What was I saying? There was the storm that came in. There was a lightning strike upon a tree. Which was, and I love, like, again, like, I love these, roll for what happens during the day types of things.
Yeah.
Because it's totally random and it could be whatever. And I love that the party investigates, because it's like classic D&D. You know, you go to the stuff that the DM mentions because, you know, obviously that's where the interesting stuff is.
Because, like, I mean, the average person, go look at it.
Yeah, exactly. Like putting ourselves like in that world. Like if we were just some average Joes traveling on a path and a lightning struck a tree, be like, oh, well, moving on now. But like the beauty of D&D, where it's like
time to get inside.
the beauty of D&D is you go investigate that stuff, because it's either just going to be a tree that was struck by lightning, or there's going to be some interesting stuff. And more often than not, it's going to be some interesting stuff.
Yeah. At the very least, you can go get your witch bolt materials from the burning tree.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I was. That's exactly what I was thinking. But we did get a chromatic rose. From this tree. Another very interesting magical item.
I'm noticing his as in reference to Mr. Matt Mercer. The first thing, the Fey Wild Shard, that is from Tasha's, I'm fairly certain. Or I might be getting this mixed up. Either way, he's using both Tasha's and he's using The Witch Beyond the Wild Light, which is the Feywild adventure book that came out. That had chromatic. I might be getting these mixed up because it seems like the Feywild Shard should be coming from the other thing. But he's using the new source books regardless, which I think is really cool. Because I remember when I was watching campaign 1, and this sounds really nerdy. I used to sit there with the books in front of me.
Uh-huh.
And I was still learning D&D a lot. Whenever something came up, any mention of an item or anything mentioned on one side, I'd be like, pause, and I'd go and
Yeah.
like look it up. Or if he was describing a monster, it was my favorite game to play. If he was describing a monster before he said the name, I would flip through the monster manual and try and find it before like we knew what it was, because I used to love knowing the stats and knowing what to expect.
Yeah.
But now he's using the newer books. It's like, oh no, I haven't read that one yet.
Yeah.
What is this wonderful thing? And he's also using a lot more homebrew stuff, which is really cool. But that little part of me, of the absolute nerd wanting to look everything up, it's like, oh no, like, I can't find this. I can't find the Shade Mother in the monster manual. What the fuck? It's cool, but the concept kind of the point I was trying to make is that the constant references to the Feywild, like it's a lot at this point, and it's just, I feel like it's just building, and it has to. Well, I hope it comes to something, because we've got the Feywild shard, we've got the chromatic rose, which, as I said, came from the Feywild book. Bring it on! I'm excited to see where this is going to go.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, still a very interesting magic item, capable of blasting some fools with lightning. So it packs a bit of a punch. So
yeah,
very cool, very interesting. But then the next big thing that happened was basically the end of the episode, so we'll save that for the end. But I believe that's it for their daily stuff. As far as my notes go. Because then there was a lot that happened during the night watches.
I've got the list.
Excellent. So we'll start from the top and work our way through. Who do you have as the top of the list there?
I mean, so there was a lot of different watches, but these I got 5, which were the main kind of conversations and the main big things that happened. So up first was Fern and Ashton having a lovely little talk, and we got some interesting kind of tidbits about Ashton, which okay, here's the thing. Ashton said,
Yes.
I'm so wild this morning. Like I haven't eaten yet, so I'm like I'm just chaotic. Ashton made comment on I used to be soft. I didn't get
Yes.
hard.
Wasn't always.
Yeah. I wasn't always hard. I was soft, and it wasn't until 10, 11. Now, there's 2 avenues that I've seen people go down on this path. Like, the fandom, I think, is split on what this means. I've seen a lot of people saying, like, oh, were they not always Genasi? I saw, like, a lot of people saying, like, oh, something happened when they were 10 or 11 that turned them Genasi, and this then led to this, physiological change. I'm leaning more towards the other path, which is just, has always been Genasi. It's just around this age that a change, puberty hit, when puberty hits and you start growing rock crystals all over your body. But I like the kind of openness that Ashton was presenting in this scene. The fact that we're getting kind of more from their backstory. Because we've mentioned it before, Ashton's kind of like, and not to make a really bad pun, but Ashton is a big softie. Ashton has a lot of kind of emotional weight and a little bit like a bit of an act that they put on to look tough.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, like, what if he means this in a very metaphorical sense? Like, when he was younger, he was a lot softer, a lot more vulnerable, but then something happened around 11 and 12 that made him how he is now.
Third avenue.
We've
got a third one.
Very abrasive, no fucks given sort of deal, because something had happened.
I like that idea. I mean, I'm all on board if there is this crazy or wild theory that, Ashton grew up as a human and then something happened and they suddenly turned into a Genasi. Like, that would be wild. But I like your take of it it was kind of, maybe literal but more figurative of, I kind of had to grow a bit hard to deal with what was happening. I just want more from Ashton, because the little bits we get, they seem like such a complex character. It seems like maybe their backstory, there's stuff in it. there's stuff to unpack there, but it seems like it's going to be a lot of their personality that we're going to break down, and a lot of their kind of wants and needs and hopes, and they're so laissez-faire. I'm excited for them to we're so fucking cruel. I'm excited for them to have like a mental breakdown. I'm excited for them to
I can't wait for FCG to explode. I can't wait for Ashton to have a mental breakdown.
I mean that in the nicest sense of the term, mental breakdown. But like, I'm excited for them to show something other than apathy, I guess. Like we've had enjoyment, and we've had kind of their rage is more like an excitable rage, like an adrenaline rage. It's not so much like an anger rage. But I'm excited to see them feel the more soft emotions, like because it's Taliesin, and I like to see Taliesin act.
It's nice. I miss good old Caduceus and all of his caring, nurturing T11 shenanigans.
But that's the thing too with Caduceus, because Caduceus was very kind of even keeled. They had a strong kind of strong control of their emotions. Even when Caduceus got angry, which was always like amazing, Mad Caduceus. Even then, it was still very not so much restrained, but it was in control. Caduceus never like flipped their shit so much. And we only got Molly for a little bit. We didn't really get to see kind of that inner turmoil that Molly was going through too much. But yeah, I'm excited for the potential of this character to, have this very brash, outward, hard exterior, and just there's some fucked up shit going on. I wanted to know that.
And then continuing on with the conversation that they had, I still love the little feud that they have going of pickpocketing each other. It's just so fun. Yeah, it's wholesome fun.
I like it was such a good exchange, and it speaks so. Their improv is so amazing, and just their ability to speak so well, which is ironic because I'm struggling here. But the things they say, you're just like, how the fuck do you come up with this stuff? When Fern said, like you don't have to steal from me, you just have to ask, what is it you want? And he said to not have to ask. Like the thrill of stealing, really like it's not being given something, it's I want to take something. I love it. It's such a good character relationship. I love the idea that Fern says she's going to go through the entire party. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, it's gonna come. This is the party for a massive like orgasm. Orgy for a massive orgy.
For a massive what? You wanna run that by us again? Oh man. Yep.
Oh the fuck.
Well, everyone, that's all the time we have for this evening.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's not. No, it's great. The audience lost it when Fern had said that that line. It was so funny. But yeah, just more great dynamic building between these two characters. Well, then which one was next? Was Laudna?
Laudna and Orym were next. Yes.
We can skip that one. That one was bad. So when I say that going to a live show and being in the
so
audience
jealous.
for reactions
I'm so jealous.
enhances the experience, I mean it. Because while the Laudna Orym conversation was in its own right, in an isolated, situation, awesome, and we got so much information, being with an audience to experience that was next level. It was insane. Just like the slow wave that was like washing over the audience as Laudna was explaining things, and like pockets of people being like, wait, what? Wait, huh? And then when she finally said it, the entire audience being like, what? Holy shit. For like it was like for 30 seconds before the crowd quieted down again because people were flipping their shit.
Watching the cast reactions too as they're picking it up, they're just like,
Yeah.
Like I'm talking about it now, I'm getting goosebumps again. I got goosebumps while watching it. And normally when because I can't watch live anymore, when I was watching it on 2 times speed. But as soon as she started talking, like as soon as they mentioned Whitestone, I was like, here we go. This is it. Like, we're going to get more stuff here. So like I went back to normal speed, and I think it's just Marisha's way of playing Lorna, especially talking about something quite vulnerable. She speaks in the very slow but pragmatic and point of fact way of speaking. That, I mean, she's just so matter of fact about what happened to her and about her death. And I think as who was it? Adam said in chat, Oren was the perfect person for her to tell the story to. I mean, one, because Oren is just a great listener. He's a good dude. But he has this kind of background knowledge of the events. So her just explaining about going to a feast at the castle, and there were going to be very special guests. Like
He's so good.
One, it's been a very fun and strong fan theory from the start. The fact that it's like confirmed is excellent. But then you've got people, sharing the screenshots from the Legends of Vox Machina and how one of the characters looks kind of like Lordna. And it's like, how long have they kind of thought about that? Like, was that was that an intentional thing? I'm sure it was, but like, how long has this been in the works with Marisha? Is amazing.
Well, what I had kind of theorized early on in our podcast for Campaign 3 was, I'm wondering if the idea for Laudna sparked while they were making the Legends of Vox Machina, and Marisha was like, I wonder if I could play as one of these Suntree characters, like the one who was Vex from the Suntree. Can I play as her, like in a resurrected form for Campaign 3?
It's interesting because I have to go rewatch that scene in the campaign, because I remember in the animated series they get reanimated during Delilah's mass kind of resurrection spell, which causes all the zombies in the city to rise up. I can't remember if in the campaign if the bodies on the trees are reanimated or not. But she's clearly been reanimated, and she's got some connection to Delilah Briarwood. But we know that she's a hollow one. So there's some weird aspect to her resurrection. Like, if she was resurrected on the tree, how did she escape the city? Or was she, taken down and buried and then resurrected at a later date? There's not enough. We don't have enough of that backstory yet. And I'm not sure it's something that they're going to pry into too much, because it's getting then very kind of personal. I think we've got the confirmation that this is what happened to her. Unless they start pushing into more of the Delilah stuff, like, why are you hearing Delilah Briarwood? All right, in the registry, and the bodies were already cut down. Thank you, Adam.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and then the ears, they cut her ears.
The cut ears.
It's so sad. And this is not the grief I enjoy, but it's like it was beautiful. It was a beautiful scene, because the way she described it, again, like I said, in the so matter-of-fact way, it was really beautiful. And just Orem hugging her and apologizing, and she's like, for what? It's like, I'm not apologizing for them or anything. It's just that this shouldn't have happened. Like, I'm sorry that it happened to you. But
then Orem's history check to recall if you'd ever heard about that, and then paying off, and then Matt describing the shock as it hits you and realizing what this is, it's because
so good.
Because the Suntree is one of the top 10 most popular moments that has happened in Critical Role. It's most people, even if they haven't seen Campaign 1, they know about that Suntree scene. And so
I remember listening to it the first time going through Campaign 1, and I didn't know anything about it. I hadn't come across the references yet, and it was like I had to pause and like walk away for a bit because like, oh shit, this is dark. This is like properly dark. So good. I'm so pleased. Like just pleased because it was an excellent reveal. I thought it was a very touching and kind of warm reveal, I guess, even though it was a really dark and sad subject. I love the one-on-ones. I love that they're around the table together again. I love that it was Liam and Marisha sharing the scene because like they're such good scene partners. It was great. It was so good.
Yeah, it's awesome. But you know what else is awesome?
Ooh, what's that?
Critical Role fan art.
Hey!
Created by the wonderful community as we use this moment to take a look at some amazing fan art created by some very talented folks. Starting with Alana's, as it's very topical with what we were just going over. Switch scenes. We have this beautifully terrifying art done by @Acandamador. Acandamador.
Yes. Chip.
Yes.
Chip.
Yep. That on Twitter. We've got looks to be Laudna rising once more from the sun tree, the lightning flashing in the background.
Cool.
Yep. Confirmed.
Yeah. And someone in chat pointed out too, Berger said she did say she woke up hanging from the tree. And I think that's correct. I think she said, like, next thing I know, I awoke hanging from a tree or with a rope around my neck or something like that. It looks so good. It just looks so messed up. I love it. It's such a simple kind of piece of art in terms of just, like, the... sounds so wanky. The composition. It is. I just love the use of, like, the lightning to kind of illuminate her and... yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
Totally awesome. And switching over to my pick, this beautiful Imogen Nightmare art by @Liabra on Twitter. This is from like a week ago or something, but I had only just recently come across it, and I love the imagery of Imogen's dreams, and this is just a gorgeous piece.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
And it's pretty terrifying. I now understand why she runs from the storm.
Yeah, that's like, holy crap, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I love
this art style too.
Now we've got kind of like this idea that it is the iron smell, which is that kind of...
Yeah.
I know Chetney said blood. I like the idea that there is like a metallic aspect to this storm as well. Almost like actual flicks of iron are floating in the storm. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's exciting. That's really cool art.
Yep. Makes me want another Imogen dream. So come on, get to it. Get to an Imogen. Come on. Have another nightmare. Let's see it.
Yeah.
Walk into the storm. Face it.
So cool.
I'm very excited for more. But there we have it. As always. Oh, whoop. Wrong scene. There we go. I switched to the solo podcast scene. We're back.
I see how it is.
Yeah.
I'll just leave. That's fine.
Except we were both like in my own box.
Oh, nice.
So it was like...
Nice.
But yeah. So, as always, the critter artists are talented. Sons of Yitches.
How dare they?
I know. Serious. But thank you, critical artists, for being so amazing. But anything else with the Laudna and Orem stuff? I mean, again, like, I'll be like, I don't think it's legal. So I'm not gonna say I will do this, but hypothetically, next time I should bring at least like an audio recording device just to record the audience's reactions. Hypothetically, of course. Hypothetically,
this conversation could have gone anywhere.
I would do that. Oh, true. Hypothetically, I would do that because I want to just relive listening to the audience's reaction to that reveal.
You'd probably get in more trouble from your local cinema than you would from like Critical Role or anything like that.
True.
But that'd be really cool. I love audience reactions because we don't have
same.
live shows in my country and we don't have cinema shows in my country. I have to live vicariously through others. That'd be cool. Do it. You have my permission to do this.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, excellent. Yeah, so
just tell the security guards like, no, I have permission.
Yeah. Alana said I could do this.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. Next time, hopefully they do more of these. Because the first one they had was episode 1, right?
Yeah.
They did that for episode 1, so yeah, hopefully it's a bit more frequent. Because episode 1 was already like what, 6 months ago, like half a year already.
Oh no, it could fuck off, fuck right off. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
No.
Yep.
Actually,
we're halfway to a year already. With
it was October.
Campaign 3.
Oh, fuck off.
Yeah. Yep. We're gonna be coming up on a year, like pretty fast sooner than we think. So
you ruined my day.
And your day has only just begun. Oh man.
Boy. That's wild. Yeah. That's wild to think about.
So next time I will for sure go, and I will definitely bring some kind of an audio recording device because I think that'd be really fun to then like overlay it with like the recording of the show.
Yes.
Just like replace the audio and all that stuff.
Nice.
That'd be really fun. So yes, I'll be doing that. Hypothetically, just in case there's any police watching. Hypothetically.
Cinema security guards watching. Not a mask.
Yep. But then we had Chetney and FCG and Imogen, I think was first.
Yes.
Yes.
The mind tornado. That's exciting.
That was really cool. And again, I think like we were saying before, it potentially could have gone very, very bad. With them maybe taking like crazy psychic damage or mixing up memories and stuff.
Yeah.
But this does lead to some potentially interesting stuff down the line, because as we were saying before, like what if this means that FCG can now enter her dreams if they peer into her mind?
They've made this kind of connection that holds them there. So we got now FCG has visually seen what the storm looks like and has an understanding, which is it's cool that she can show it to someone else, and then it makes you think like, well, is it dreams or is it like more visions? Is it it obviously happens when she's asleep, but it could be what's the difference really? But it could be like more of a vision rather than like a dream, something that she's making up herself, and she's never seen it before. It could be a premonition. There's something fucky with her dreams, obviously. So it's just nice that she's able to share it with someone else, and then in turn share stuff from FCG, which we're getting more and more of this little dude. We're getting more and more from his backstory and his path with Dancer.
But it was
I don't know. What's your take on that? Like,
it was so sad for because when Matt was describing it for what Imogen was seeing, she was seeing FCG strolling around town with the squad, having a grand old time. But then the next flashes was FCG being surrounded by all of their, bodies and stuff, and the figure darting off into the forest. It's just, that was sad.
That's interesting though too, because this is the first time we've heard of a figure being there, right? Because previously it was FCG had said something about a large eye, like a singular eye, that they'd seen. But now we've got imagery of a humanoid figure fleeing the scene. Which what the fuck's up with that? Who is that? Are they?
Because FCG, remember, is one eye. Do we know of any factions or maybe NPCs that we've encountered in the past that either have like a one-eye tattoo or like a faction whose symbol is an eye. And maybe that's what they saw. I'm not sure if there's any
The knowing mistress. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Iron's gone dark. Like she's.
yeah.
I think.
I don't know.
Yeah, Nick. Thank you. Nick brings up the pack, and it struck me when he said it too. Matt mentioned how the bodies, and they were all covered in blood. They were all bloodied bodies. Either there was a lot of Dancer's blood, but like, why would the automatons be like necessarily covered in blood? It just. I know it's like a real kind of, you know, wild theory that they weren't actually automatons, but it kind of like makes you. It was suspicious. It was suspicious the way he described it, because it wasn't so much like, you know, you see the bloody body of dancers, you see their bloodied bodies, which to me indicates, you know, it's all their blood on their bodies. Why the hell? What the hell is up with that? And the other theory is that, you know, there could have been other humanoids traveling in the group. It wasn't necessarily just automatons. But get out of here with that. I don't want your logic on my theories.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got a few people saying that it could be the remnants.
Vecna.
You know, the followers of Vecna, because, you know, Vecna might be involved somehow with Delilah being around, maybe. Could be isolated. Cammy does say that Ukatoa's followers had eyes, so maybe there's some kind of a connection there.
There's some connection with Aor, like perhaps if Dancer had some kind of Aor excursion, that's how she's got these automatons. It could be something to do with like the eyes of the Somnovum, some kind of like branch off from that. Maybe it could be a person with an eye patch. We don't know.
True.
Like it could be a pirate. So
could be
I just want more. And
pirate Kingsley. Is it Kingsley? Confirmed.
Confirmed. Kingsley lost an eye and is now out killing Sam's backstory. But I like the one that they're going to keep trying this. So there's always more potential for more of this to happen. But we're now at that point of the campaign where it's like, oh, we're getting deep into the backstories and we've just got to wait for more kind of quiet times to talk. I remember that in campaign 2 so much. It was just like, it's been like 3 episodes. You guys need to talk about this, but you haven't had a chance to stop and actually chat. And then when they finally do get to a place, it's like Caleb's like, I'm going to go speak to Nod. It's like, yes, fuck yes, let's go. Here we go.
And it's
time
funny
to chat.
That we got all of this crazy backstory stuff from so many characters, because I think this episode last season, episode 17, maybe it was like 17, 18 around there, is when Caleb dropped his big backstory bomb. That was just one character. This one we got a bunch of people, you know, dropping some stuff. I don't think everyone's was as heavy as Caleb's. I mean, Laudna's stuff was very shocking, but it was something that we already kind of had guessed. This was just confirmation. I mean, maybe early on for last campaign, people may have theorized that, I wonder if Caleb like killed his parents or something.
Oh my god, it's a werewolf.
Episode 18 was when I dropped.
18, 17, I think, was when Trent appeared for the first time.
Yes.
Yeah, Heart's Close.
But some crazy stuff. But next up is when we had Chetney and Orm. And this was like the wholesome sad one. It was like
this is the grief. This is the grief that fuels me.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
No, it was very good. The acting in the scene.
It was good. And it was nice because Travis plays Chetney as a very comedic character. But it's nice that he then knows how to then reel him in and play him as, you know, in this way.
And it's Travis, because Travis is he's so invested in his friends' backstories. Like, he wants to know and he'll constantly push. So him being open to listening and asking the right questions, it's such a good trait of Ravis. a trait of Travis as a player. Oh my god. It was it was lovely. Like when he asked, like, I wrote in my notes because he asked Orum about the tattoos, and he was being so cagey. He kept kind of like passing the buck. I wrote in my notes, Orum has sidestepped the moon tattoo questions, but then eventually it was directed exactly, and he couldn't really sidestep it. But he gave out like this long sigh, as if to say like, "Oh, am I actually going to talk about it?" And we did, and we got the reveal, and it was.
I think the crowd collectively started crying when Orm was like, it helps, like it's remind me of my husband, and everyone was like, oh, it was so good. It was so good. And then when he was like, it's Katha and Rudis,
Big
and
Moon,
my husband
Moon.
was a half elf, Big Moon, Little Moon.
But
it's so good.
It's so sad because it's not brooding sadness that Orum has. It's just that kind of, it's the long-term grief, I guess. It's the person that's lost their partner. So that's why we get that kind of real quiet, reserved aspect. But there's what gets me excited for him going absolutely ape shit when they find these creatures that
because then
because we know now.
Yeah, this kind of lends to my theory that I had talked about in previous episodes, where I was like, oh, what if Orum's husband died during the attack, and Orum wasn't actually sent by Keyleth, and this is more of like a vengeance trip, to get to the bottom of this. I still think it's possible that Keyleth instructed Orum, or Orum like volunteered to do it because Orum lost his husband during this. But it would also be interesting if he was like going against like her orders and he actually just set off on his own to get to the bottom of it.
I'm prepared. I'm prepared for him to go feral. I'm prepared for the angst that comes with that. Everyone's saying it in chat. I'm sure you've seen it already.
Yep.
His husband's name was Will.
Yep.
Derry, the half elf, the fighter protector of the Ashari, had a son named Will.
Yeah.
And that's
Wait,
even
wasn't?
sadder.
Oh no, never mind.
Because we had the theory that, Orum trained under Derek and potentially lost Derek in the attacks.
Yeah.
But the fact that it was his husband, and let's be real, I don't think Liam's done this casually. It's almost certainly Derek's son, who he was married to. It's like, damn it, Liam, fucking hell. Go on, dude.
I'm loving all of these like direct connections to campaign 1 though.
Oh,
it's
really
great. Nice.
Yeah, give it to me. I just want to give a shout out to Jason in chat. Orum equals Ruidus Moon Conspiracy. This is what I wrote last night. Is that
Oh
mirrored?
yes, Big Moon, Little Moon, Orum equals Ruidus. Ah yes.
Yes. Promise you, I didn't write that just then. That was written last night. It was like, let's go.
Yep.
I'm with you. Let's go.
There it is. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
But it was a very sweet moment.
Yeah, and as you say, Chetney was like so nice in that scene. I
like
noticed
hiding his own tears as well.
Yeah, his voice work was really good in that scene. I thought with Travis, because he had Chetney's voice, but he lowered it so softly. You gotta think that's like I would be coughing like crazy if I was trying to do that voice that low and that quiet. But no, it was just such a sweet scene, and
it was.
I'm so excited now for them to find out more about these attacks and to one get closure for Orum, but then figure out what the fuck's going on. Like it's personal now. It's deep.
Yeah, and like I had said previously, like I feel like an encounter with these assassins is very possible, given what their current objective is, and that's finding these papers, finding out what the Loomis twins had uncovered. Speaking with this scholar that's in the Heartmore Hamlet, like I feel like we're rapidly approaching an encounter with these assassins that attack Zephyra. Yeah. So we'll probably get some more Orum shenanigans once that goes down. Yeah. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
100%.
I'm wondering if it's going to be Imogen might be a target.
Yeah.
Seemingly is targeting. Well, at least in the Loomis twin case, it was targeting them, we assume, because of their research into what's going on. So, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited. But then next up, and then the final watch, I guess, for the night was Laudna and Ashton. And this was the night of the Pixie, the little fairy,
Pixie. Oh,
the
sweet.
happy little wholesome
Oh,
fairy that
cute.
they had saw.
Little Tinkerbell. Little
Yeah,
Tinkerbell character.
totally.
Fucking around. Yeah.
Totally wholesome. But I love like them trying to feel like, what do we do? Do we go say hi? And then Travis like,
Yeah.
just fucking smash it.
Yeah.
Was great. But then I personally lost it when they woke up Fern. And Fern was like,
Yeah.
oh, those bitches.
Yeah.
You woke me up for that.
Yeah, the like rats.
Yeah,
Like
the rats of the Feywild.
she had the right reaction, and I
Yeah.
think it was then maybe like peer pressure that forced her to actually stay awake. I mean, in the nicest sense, because then it was very much like they were starting to say like, well, can we choose to fail our saves? Because I was the same. I would have been played that exact same in that scenario. It would have been like oh, how do we communicate with this creature?
Yeah.
How do we like? It wants to like probe into our minds. Clearly, it wants to talk. Let's just fail our saves on purpose.
But the way, because like I was that way too, but the way I probably would have played it out the same way they did, but like from a player's perspective, when Matt was saying that like when they were succeeding in these saving throws, when they were like it's trying to connect with you, it's trying to communicate with you, I was like, connect? That's an interesting choice of words. I'm wondering if it's trying to like possess them as a way of like connecting to them. That's mostly what I was worried about. So I don't know. It was crazy. But it was exciting to see then the realization that this thing was far more nefarious than we originally had thought, because it did influence Fern. It did cause her to fall into some kind of a strange daze and then continue down like a set path.
And then even then I was thinking of, oh, maybe this is just a deterrent feature that this creature has, like to make it not seen and to make it like give it an easy escape. It's like, oh, you forgot that you were chasing me, so I'm just going to fly off. That was a little bit more sinister.
Yeah. It definitely was. But what an interesting concept for a creature, like a Venus flytrap / like anglerfish. Yeah. Sort of deal.
Yeah,
very
100% Anna.
Creepy.
It's the squishy moment from Finding Nemo. That's what I thought about too. It's just like, oh, it's so cute. I'm gonna take care of it. It's my own thing. It's like, oh no, this is bad. Like, no, I'm excited. I'm excited for that combat because it sounds like it's gonna be pretty fun. Because also some of them are still asleep. Like most.
Yeah,
like,
they went at least like a round of movement away. In terms of like combat.
Imogen's still awake at camp, but Ashton and Fern are like, they're off in the distance a bit, and this creature is still there, supposedly going to be wanting to daze and confuse others. So it's going to be fun. I like those kind of combats where players can be incapacitated or they can have kind of restrictions to their play. It's going to be good, I reckon.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. Overall, it was just a great scene, really great moments between the characters. But was there anything else we wished to touch upon for this episode? There was a lot, and again, like we were saying before, like we love travel episodes, we love the night watches, and it took us 17 episodes, but we finally got one chock full of some awesome stuff. So give me more. I love this show. I love it.
100%. I think
great.
I'm excited to see more about what this Nile rock is, what the kind of mutations are. The fact that this is just a slither of it. I'm excited for, in 40 episodes time when they're in the Feywild and they're like, oh, there's the Nile rock we've heard so much about. I feel like it's bound to happen. Or it might not. Who knows? But it's an exciting possibility. I'm loving all the Feywild stuff. I'm loving the character stories, and I'm excited too because they did speak to Gianna this episode about the quest. So I'm really excited for
the heist stuff.
doing this heist.
Yeah,
the heist.
That's gonna be so much fun.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah,
can't wait for that. And yeah, as Adam was saying, the little FCG going for like upwards of more than like 20,000 gold if they were looking to sell them for whatever reason. Yeah, I certainly hope they don't, but that's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. How expensive little FCG is. Yeah, super excited for more. Can't wait for this combat. It's gonna be awesome. But I believe, with all of that being said and done, we can go ahead and call this one a wrap.
Yeah.
7 years of Critical Role, y'all. 7 years. And here's to 7 more. Fuck it.
Hey.
7 more. We'll see you all. We will remember this moment right here when we're on the 14th anniversary of Critical Role. Be like, remember when we were on the 7th anniversary? We were talking about that one episode. Yes, we will remember that right now, right here. So as always, thank you all so much for coming out and experiencing this with us. You know, this podcast hasn't been around for 7 years, but I'm glad that we have it at least for the entirety of Campaign 3 and beyond. So I super appreciate you all coming out, chatting, those of you in the live stream, those of you who are going to be watching this on YouTube or on Spotify or wherever else this podcast may find itself. Thank you all so much for showing your support. But if you're looking to support us even further, be sure to follow us on Twitter. Links to that is going to be in the description down below. We post when we're going live and all that fun stuff. So be sure to check us out. Give us a follow. And yes, also, Critical Role isn't the only anniversary we will be celebrating. Tonight also marks the 1 year anniversary of our community Discord server that we had started a year ago today. So pretty soon after I end the podcast, in about a half an hour, we're going to begin our evening of celebration as we hang out, play some games, watch some movies, and just, you know, have a little fun time as we celebrate the 1 year anniversary. So hope to see you there for that.
Awesome.
Yeah. So with all that being said, again, thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to love each other. Spread the love to everyone you meet, to everyone you see. But most importantly, don't forget to love yourself. That is the most important thing you can do. So make sure you're taking care of yourself. Drink some water, eat some food, get plenty of rest. I'm proud of you. Thank you for being here. So, I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful rest of your morning, day, evening, wherever you may be on this glorious earth. And we'll see you all very soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
I would just like to take a second to give a huge shout out to all of my wonderful Patreon supporters. Thank you to my expositors, Leah, Olivia, Sean, Pseudonym, the DM's Den, and Hannah. Thank you to my archivists, Annika, Daniel, Elliot, Emerson, Melissa, Noel, and John. And thank you to all of my high curators, Adam, Caleb, IMI, Andrea, Dustin, Rin, and Sylvia. Thank you all so very much for showing your support. It truly does mean a lot to me. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Stay awesome, and I'll see you in the next one.